I found out the truth about my girlfriend's pregnancy when she was already 6 months along, just far enough that her belly had become a symbol of everything I thought we were building together. Her name was Sarah and I loved her deeply. We had been trying, struggling, hoping for a child for months. And then, suddenly she was pregnant. No warning. No treatments. No miracles, just a surprise. I wanted to believe it was ours. I wanted to believe in us. Then a man named Brian walked into my life like a wrecking ball. He approached me at work, nervous, apologetic. Said he needed to talk. When he asked if I was Sarah's boyfriend, I said yes, cautiously. And then he dropped the truth like a stone into still water. He had been sleeping with her. For over a year. He didn't know she was in a relationship, he claimed. He showed me the proof, screenshots of messages, photos, date stamps. There was no denying it. They had been together the whole time. When she found out she was pregnant, they agreed to pretend the baby was mine. She wanted to keep her perfect little life, and he didn't want the responsibility. So they left me in the dark, willing to let me raise a child that wasn't mine. I felt like my lungs had collapsed. The betrayal didn't just sting, it hollowed me out. All the nights I spent worrying about our fertility struggles, all the moments I reassured her, all the love I poured into our life together, it all meant nothing. Brian, newly devoted to Christianity, said he couldn't carry the lie anymore. Said it was eating him alive, especially knowing I was preparing to raise his child unknowingly. I thanked him for his honesty even though it shattered me. I told him to keep quiet for now, I needed time. Space. Months passed while I lived with the weight of that truth. I'd wake up beside her, watching her hand resting on her growing stomach, and feel sick knowing it wasn't mine. But I waited. I needed the moment to feel right. I wanted her to feel what I felt. And so, I chose the moment she was most vulnerable. The baby was born and rushed to the NICU for observation, a precaution, the doctors said. It should have been a time for tears of joy, for gratitude, for soft lullabies and holding hands. But instead, it was a quiet devastation. I looked at that baby and knew. Just knew. He wasn't mine. Once Sarah was stable after delivery, I quietly packed my things. She asked where I was going. I looked her in the eyes and told her plainly, I know the baby's not mine. Call Brian. Have him sign the birth certificate. Her face collapsed into confusion, panic, and guilt all at once. I didn't wait for her to respond. I left. My phone buzzed endlessly after that, calls, texts, voicemails. Even her sister tried to reach out. I ignored them all. That day I had planned to propose. I had the ring. I had rehearsed the words. I thought I was walking toward a future. Instead, I walked away from a lie. Some people said I should have ended things sooner. That it was cruel to confront her after birth. Others stood by me, encouraged me to get a DNA test, not just for peace of mind but for legal protection. I agreed not because I needed more proof but because I wanted closure. Brian and I stayed in touch. He was ready to take responsibility if the child was his. I wasn't angry at him anymore, not really. He seemed genuinely remorseful. Honest. And in some strange way I found comfort in that. A month later the DNA results arrived. I wasn't the father. Brian was a perfect match. He was overjoyed surprisingly. Said he was ready to be a dad despite everything. We met up for a beer and talked. He was active in his church, volunteered on weekends, and genuinely wanted to do right by the child. I didn't know if we'd ever be close friends, but I didn't mind sharing a drink with him now and then. Sarah tried to pursue something with him after that, but he turned her down. He agreed to co-parent but wanted nothing more. She and I had one final conversation. She admitted she'd felt distant, unsatisfied. Said I hadn't been fully there for her emotionally. Maybe she was right. I wasn't perfect, but I gave her everything I had. I told her that. She cried. I held her for a moment, not because I wanted her back but because I once loved her. And maybe part of me always will. She asked if we could stay friends. If I'd still want to be a part of the baby's life. I said no. I handed her the stuffed animal I had bought for the child I thought was mine. A small gesture for a dream that died. When she moved in with her mother, I blocked her number. I needed distance. I needed to heal. The pain didn't go away overnight. The silence in my home echoed louder than ever. But I began to find pieces of myself in the quiet. I went to therapy. Started working out. Took control of the mess in my head and heart. I met someone, unexpectedly, at work. A kind, thoughtful single mom. We talked. Slowly. Carefully. I told her I wasn't ready to rush into anything. She understood. We kept things casual but our connection grew. Her daughter was amazing, full of joy and warmth. Being around them felt like standing in sunlight after months of rain. She grounded me, especially when I struggled with drinking after the breakup. Therapy helped. Her support helped. Her daughter helped. They became my new family. Not overnight, but piece by piece. I started to smile again, real smiles. Laughter returned to my life like an old song I'd forgotten the words to. 8 months later, Sarah had moved 3 hours away to be near her family. I didn't see her anymore. Didn't hear from her. And that was a blessing. Brian and I exchanged texts once in a while. We shared another beer down the line. He seemed happy. Focused on fatherhood. We never mentioned Sarah. As for me, I was building something better. Something real. My relationship with the single mom became everything I didn't know I needed. Fun, honest, safe. Her daughter made me want to show up as my best self. I was becoming the man I'd always hoped I could be. I planned to propose again someday. To a woman who loves without secrets. To a family built not by blood but by choice and trust. Sarah's just a scar now. A lesson. A memory that doesn't burn anymore. And no, I don't regret how I handled any of it. Some heartbreaks break you open just enough to finally heal. And this time I'm not looking back.